Okay, I'll call the regular City Council meeting of Tuesday, January 21st, 2025 to order at 7 p.m. If we could have roll call, please.
Alderman Santee.
Here.
Alderman Glad.
Here.
Alderman McClatchy.
Here.
Alderwoman Bassey.
Here.
Alderman Davis. Alderman Cook.
Here.
Alderwoman Miller.
Here.
And in Mayor Jett's absence, could we have a motion for an acting mayor? Alderman Miller.
I would make a motion that we appoint, or what do we do? Do we appoint for the evening?
Yes.
Appoint Alderman Vic Santee from Ward 1 as acting mayor this evening.
Is there a second? Yes.
I'll second the motion.
And a roll call vote, please.
Alderwoman Miller.
Yes.
Alderman Santee.
Yes.
Alderman Glad.
No.
Alderman McClatchy.
No.
Alderwoman Bassey.
No.
Alderman Cook.
No.
Yes.
I'd like to make a motion to appoint Alderman Glab as our temporary mayor for tonight.
Yes.
I'll second that.
Roll call vote, please.
Alderman McClatchy.
Yes.
Alderwoman Bassey.
Yes.
Alderwoman Miller. No. Alderman Cook.
Yes.
Alderman Glad.
Yes.
Alderman Santee.
No. I guess we'll start out with the Pledge of Allegiance before I sit down. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, do we have anybody signed up for public comment? Is there anybody in the audience that would like to make a statement? If not, we'll go on to the consent agenda. Anybody would like to pull anything that they would like to vote differently? Alderman Bassey, or Alderperson Bassey?
I'd like to pull, I do have some questions before I make a vote.
Oh, I'm sorry. Did you catch that? I didn't have my mic on.
Yep,
we
got it.
Thank you.
Anybody else? No? Then I would like a motion for consent agenda B, C, D, and E. Alderman Santee?
Yeah, I'd like to make a motion to approve consent agenda items B through E as presented.
I'll second.
Alderman McClatchy? We have a vote.
Alderman Santee.
Yes.
Alderman McClatchy.
Yes.
Alderman Glad.
Yes.
Alderwoman Bassey.
Yes.
Alderman Cook.
Yes.
Alderwoman Miller.
Okay. Alderperson Bassey, you took and pulled A.
Yes,
You'd
I
like
did.
to start?
Thank you. I guess this is really for you, Ross. This is, our meeting was December 16th, and we talked about the Oakwood Bridge, and we did a motion to do condemnation proceedings. So my question is, the .018 acre, is that any part of the condemnation?
No, the condemnation was for the west side of the bridge, which that property held in a private trust. This is in reference to the east side of the bridge. This is city-owned property. We are just dedicating this strip of our own property as right-of-way for the bridge.
Okay, because they were both the same amount of acreage, and I just want to confirm that it is not what we talked about last meeting.
No, it is
Okay.
a separate opposite side of the bridge.
Okay, thank you. That was my only question.
The question I've got, though, is we still are going forward with the condemnation on the other side? This isn't in lieu of, is it? Or is it?
No, that was approved by council and is moving forward separately. Like I said, the city already owns this property. This is simply to dedicate this small section of property as right-of-way so that down the road, if we ever have to do something with the bridge, we don't have any right-of-way or access issues with the footprint of the bridge.
Okay, thank you. Alderman Santi?
I was going to make a motion to approve
Oh,
consent agenda item 5A as presented.
okay. Second, Alderman Cook?
I'll second that motion.
Alderperson Bassey, did you have another question, or?
No, I was just going to second it.
Oh, okay. So then, I guess we go with no other questions, then roll call?
Alderman Santi,
Yes.
Alderman Cook,
Yes.
Alderman Glad,
Yes.
Alderman McClatchy,
Yes.
Alderwoman Bassey,
Yes.
Alderwoman Miller.
Okay, motion passes. Individual action items. We have to start the Bar on 31 liquor license. And it's a motion to approve a Class A liquor license to the Bar on 31 located on at 404 Route 31 and pass an ordinance amending Section 426, limitation on number of licenses of the McHenry City Code. Deputy Clerk Monty Johnson, I guess it's your proposal, so.
Sure, yep, staff met with the business owner and discussed the plan, and we put the menu and a picture and a layout in your packet, and the business owner's here if you have questions.
Okay. I would take it that there will be questions, so that would the petitioner step to the podium, please?
I'm John Swerk with RJ Properties, owner of the building. This is Andy Panagakis, who is seeking the liquor license.
Okay. Questions by council? Alderman Santee?
Hi, Mr. Panagakis?
Yes.
Correct?
Yes.
Real quickly, and I know I wanted to make sure, confirm some information with you that I received earlier in the day. It's my understanding that we're looking at a one building here that's got brunch cafe on the east end, and on the west end is meat and potatoes, and now we're putting a third bar/restaurant in there. I saw you on the packet, and you know, my first question is, are those other businesses comfortable with you coming in into that facility as a third restaurant in that building?
They are. Ted Zados is the one that introduced me and brought me and showed me the location, and when we spoke, was the first one that I asked him, because
Okay.
I will have food. It's going to be completely different from meat and potato and brunch cafe. So we've laid out a good menu where, you know, it's more cold cut sandwiches,
Sure.
stuff like that meat and potato, you know, doesn't serve, and brunch cafe also.
Okay, and then the couple of follow-ups. I didn't see it in the packet, so I'm not sure if it was actually printed yet. Do you have tentative hours that you're looking at opening?
Opening, looking at 11
Okay,
a.m.
and then with the liquor license?
With the liquor license.
You're 1 to
1 or 2
a.m.
o'clock, whatever,
2,
yeah,
2 a.m. on weekends.
on weekends.
And then the final thing is, we had a concern with a potential business going in there a few years back with parking. I'll tell you right now that when you look at Saturday and Sundays, and it starts around 9 o'clock in the morning, and it continues through noon, 1 o'clock in the afternoon, that there's definitely a parking issue there. And understanding when I checked with Director Polarecki earlier, that you guys are within ordinance with your parking spaces per your floor space. I just want you to understand that want to see you or some of the other owners coming back to us with parking problems in 9 months. And that's something that you guys are going to have to deal with, because there is going to be some overlap, especially on those weekends. And, that's all I have. That's the only other question I have. If you have any
I can
thoughts
see
on that.
maybe on weekends, but again, I'd love, to have the lunch crowd, but I see it, from 4 to 5 p.m. picking up, where Brunch Cafe is done at 2. So, for employees to park, they have the whole side of the building where Brunch Cafe is. So I don't think it's going to be an issue.
Okay.
Parking.
Great.
All right. Thank you. I have no further questions.
Alderwoman Miller?
How many employees will you have
Looking at around 6 to 7.
on every given shift?
It's going to be 2 shifts. So, yeah, about 6. 6. That's what I'm...
Right. It is pretty much a full kitchen. There's a full commercial kitchen in there. So it's not just a charcuterie board type of place.
John, you say it's a full kitchen, but it's not really a full menu as far as...
But if you look at the menu that was provided,
Uh-huh.
there's the flatbread pizzas and,
Pizzas, tacos, and hot dogs.
I think pot roast.
This is going to be the pot roast.
Pot roast sandwiches.
Pot roast. I mean, there's all kinds of food in there.
No dinners or anything else,
Well,
so...
that would be a dinner. Yeah.
That's a dinner. I mean, subs.
There's something that we kind of lack in a lot of our restaurants is the fact, hometown type, you sit down, have a warm meal, rather than sandwiches and things.
On that part, I mean, I'd want to, step on meat and potatoes menu too, you know what I mean? So that's why it's kind of different. We're not putting the burgers, we're not doing all that stuff.
Well, that's a plus.
Yeah.
Because everybody does a pub burger, so. Is there any other questions that anybody else has? Alderwoman Bassey?
I just want to make sure that you're aware of the fact that 31 is going to be ripped up starting in 2026. And, Suzanne, how long in that area are we looking at? A year, 9 months? Ballpark?
It's probably going to be closer to 2 years.
To 2 years.
2026 will be primarily utility relocation ahead of the actual road construction project in 2027. That stretch could potentially be a year, that whole schedule pushed out a year, because it is broken into 2 phases, and they are a little behind on some property acquisition, so that may be more like a 2027 utility and 2028 road construction. IDOT has not finalized that schedule, but 2 years, I think, either way, between utility and road construction.
Right.
Okay, thank you. And, new businesses, they
Not
don't,
yet. No,
they struggle a lot, and
Yes.
you're going to have road construction very shortly after you open up.
The great news is this council worked with us, the building owners, and got that back exit out Bank Drive. That saved that site. Because obviously we have access off Bank Drive, which a lot of people use that rear exit. So at least it's there, which is great.
Alderman McClatchy?
Thank you, Alderman Glab. Alderman Santee took a lot of questions about parking. I'm so glad you're not doing this downtown, because I'd be a definite no on it. But explain again the parking area around there. People park behind?
Not behind, on the side of Brunch.
There's 108 parking spots on that site. The only real time that it's crowded, I should say, is Sundays 10 to 1. Saturdays are still pretty good. During the weeks are good. There's always spots open. If we go back to the records when we were trying to do the other facility here, we did daily counts of all the parking. There's always a lot of room. And like Mr. Santee said, the permit's already issued, November 11th, I think. And we meet all the parking requirements for the city with all the uses we currently have.
Okay.
Thanks.
Alderman Santee?
Do you have any other restaurants?
I do. I have Savory Restaurant in Bartlett.
Okay.
with my brother and my sister.
And how
I
long?
what's up?
How long have you had it?
16 years.
Okay.
And I do have a food service company. I've been doing that for about 30 years.
Okay, so you're not a
So,
rookie. You're
yeah.
not a rookie.
Yeah.
All right, thank you.
No other questions? Okay. If there are no other questions, see, who did make the motion? Okay, can we get a motion then? Alderman Santi?
I'll make a motion to approve that bar liquor license on 31, Class A liquor license located at 404 Route 31. Pass ordinance amending Section 4-2-6, limitation of number of licenses of McHenry City Code per the clerk, Monty Johnson, as presented.
And we get a second? Alderman McClatchy? Okay. Roll call?
Alderman Santi?
Yes.
Alderman McClatchy?
Yes.
Alderman Glad?
Yes.
Alderman Bassey? Yes. Alderman Cook?
Yes.
Alderwoman Miller?
Yes.
Next is due to the fact that the liquor license was approved, now it's video gaming license, and we need a motion for that, or start out with a motion from Alderman Santi.
Yeah, I'll gladly make the motion for the gaming license for that bar on Route 31 as presented, agenda item 6B.
Okay, second by Alderman Cook? I'll second. Okay. Roll call?
Alderman Santi?
Yes.
Alderman Cook?
I'm sorry?
Yes.
Second with Cook.
No discussion. They wanted discussion.
Oh, you wanted discussion, I'm sorry. I didn't think we needed discussion on the video gaming, but go ahead. Who?
So would you have video gaming in your other restaurant?
I do not. It's a breakfast lunch place.
Okay. And are you in the process of getting your state video gaming license?
Yes.
Have you obtained that, or?
We have, yes.
And if we deny gaming, would you go on with the project?
Yes, I would. I mean, the gaming's going to help, especially, things are right now with, the cost of the food and labor and everything. So I would definitely want the gaming, but I mean, we've signed leases, so I got to move forward either way.
And what percentage of your sales do you think you're going to rely on gaming for?
Ooh. These are 10, about 10%.
Yeah, what other establishments over there have video gaming?
Excuse me?
Meat and Potatoes has video gaming.
So both
Yes.
the other entities do have?
Just meat and potatoes.
Just meat and potatoes?
Correct. Brunch Cafe does not.
Okay. All right, any other discussion or any other questions? Then I guess we go back to the roll call again, please.
Alderman Santi?
Yes.
Alderman Cook?
Yes.
Alderman Glad?
Yes.
Alderman McClatchy?
Yes.
Alderwoman Bassey?
Yes.
Alderwoman Miller?
Yes.
Okay,
Awesome, thank
good
you.
luck with your
guys.
Thanks.
new restaurant.
Thank you,
and,
thank you.
We move on to 1411 Richmond Road variance, basically. Is that a new terminology now, variation instead of variance, or
No.
no?
It
was the word of the day.
Either
Okay.
or, right? So this is another one of those two flats that's been operating in residentially zoned zoning district for many, many years. We go back a minimum of 20 years. The petitioner has given us proof that it's been operating that way through real estate transactions. So we know that it actually dates back to about 50 years ago. This became a two flat for with or without approval of the city. I couldn't tell you that. Again, in the past we've identified these through sale of a property, through a zoning verification letter that attorneys usually want. We take that
time to then bring it forward so that we can clean them up. So staff doesn't have any issues. We walk through the property. The petitioner is here tonight. Noah, he's actually going to be living and actually is living in one side of the unit right now, and then the other side of the unit will be a rental. So he'll be on site all times. I don't know if there's any questions. We are requiring some additional parking on site to take the parking off the street as part of this approval, and the petitioner has agreed to that. So if you have any questions, I or the petitioner is here to answer those.
Let's go with a motion to start. Do we have a motion? Somebody wants to make a motion? Alderman Santee?
I will make the motion to approve agenda item 6C, the 1411 Richmond Road variations as presented.
Second?
Second.
Alderman McClatchy? Discussion. Alderman McClatchy?
Yeah, you mentioned the parking. Is that additional parking now than what it was before?
Correct. Yeah, we are requiring parking on site, on the property, as opposed to right now, they're using the road out in front of the house in the alley. Right. So we're requiring some on-site parking so that they're all over the alley for, snowplow purposes.
Right.
Things like that.
Cool. Thank you.
Basically, I guess for us, I take it we do have others that will be coming forward in the future on this.
We usually
None that you know of?
find them at real estate transactions. Again, when the attorney goes for a zoning verification letter and we give that letter because it's not zoned properly for the way being used, that's when we find these. Some years we get 2, 3, some years we get 0. So it's all, we know there's more out there.
Yeah.
We'll identify them and bring them forward as we have in the past.
Well, this one seems to be a little bit different only because of the fact that it's right by the downtown area. I mean, adjacent just about.
Most of them are. Most of them are in that, that RS4 area that surrounds our downtown. That's where we've seen a lot of these conversions.
And a lot of these have probably existed before we even had zoning in the city, and it just kind of got overlooked as they were doing their zoning maps and everything else.
Single-family home zoning districts like the RS2 district that are fairly new, we know that we've never authorized duplexes in those, right? This is the part of town where we see this happen, and again, this is probably 50-plus years ago that this happened. So,
I think these things started. Right. I don't think there were any ordinances or anything against it, so it was just totally allowable at the time. Anybody else? Any comments or discussion? Going? No? Okay, then I guess we'll take a vote on it.
Alderman Santee?
Yes.
Alderman Claskey?
Yes.
Alderman Glab?
Yes.
Alderwoman Bassey?
Yes.
Alderman Cook?
Yes.
Alderwoman Miller?
Yes.
Okay, motion passes. The next thing that we go to is the downtown parking study. Oh, sorry.
Formatting issue, not you.
The Venice Avenue reconstruction change order. My apologies. We need a motion to approve the H.R. Green change order to task order number 2 for $40,564 to be billed on a time and material not to exceed the basis. Russ, do you have anything to say about this other than what was in the agenda packet?
No, just to, I guess, reiterate that this is in an effort to shore up sanitary capacity for the Green Street, any future redevelopment in the Green Street downtown corridor. Since we're redoing the road next year already, it just seemed prudent that we address the sewer issue now as opposed to a year or two from now and tear up a brand new road. So that's really been the primary driver behind this. So if there's any questions, fire away.
Before we start that, can we get a motion for approval? Alderwoman Bassey?
I'll make that motion.
And seconded, Alderman McClatchy?
I'll second that.
Discussion, please. I guess the only question I have is, we're going from an 8 to a 10-inch pipe there?
Yes, there's currently an 8, but there's insufficient slope for the 8-inch sewer to carry the additional sewer load if there's any development on Green Street. So the only way to correct that is to put a larger pipe in.
With additional. When you say additional, we're talking a large amount of development or just any kind of development?
Really any kind of development at this point. That 8-inch sewer at the slope that it's at is already at capacity.
It is at capacity, okay.
As well as there are a few defects in that line sags and back pitch areas that make that 8-inch sewer problematic, but that's the reason to upsize to a 10 as opposed to replacing it with another 8-inch sewer.
And I know you would be the finance person, but what would you say that you're probably talking the difference in cost between an 8 and a 10-inch main?
I mean, all the work is in the excavation, really, and that, and so you're probably talking about $1,000 over the entire length of the project, the 8 to the 10-inch.
Okay. Anybody else have any questions, comments? Alderman Santee.
Yeah, thank you. Just to reiterate per discussions we had, Director Adams, earlier, design start work is tentatively scheduled and completion from February to May of this year? No? It's just design work?
No, yeah. So design would begin as soon as this task order, this change order to task order number 2 is approved. In terms of work actually beginning, we would have to go out to bid on this portion of the project, so we're probably looking at a midsummer construction. This summer.
Thank you.
With all the downtown activities during the summertime, are we going to be able to try to accommodate with fiesta days and other things like that to make sure that they don't interfere with worst that you could have that thing all ripped up while we've got the whole downtown flooded. So could you keep that in mind when we're looking up as far as scheduling for that work?
Will do.
Then I guess there's no other discussion. Take a roll call.
Alderman Bassi?
Yes.
Alderman McClatchy?
Yes.
Alderman Glab?
Yes.
Alderman Santee?
Yes.
Alderwoman Miller? Yes. Alderman Cook?
Yes.
Okay. So we'll move forward again now to the downtown parking study. And I need a motion to award a professional services lump sum contract for the downtown parking study to Kimley Horn in the amount of $58,500, subject to the city attorney review. We could have a motion. Alderwoman Miller.
I'll make the motion to approve a professional services lump sum contract for downtown parking study to Kimley Horn in the amount of $58,500, subject to city attorney review.
Okay. Second, Alderman Santee.
Second motion.
Discussion, please. I'm sorry. Alderman Bassi.
Thank you. Suzanne, could you, I don't have a cork board this time. Yeah. But I do have a little something to show you. What you are looking at is a potential optimization for what the city could be doing downtown where we have the old bank building. If you see, we're going aisles and rows and parallel versus the way it is the other way, the way it is now. And based on my research, if we were to re-optimize this parking lot, we would probably increase the parking by about 20%. So I would like to see us try something like this first before we spend $58,500 on an actual study. So that's where I stand.
Alderman McClatchy.
Thank you, Alderman. First of all, I'm not thrilled about spending $58,000 on something we already know. I mean, can you tell us, I wish the client was here, but can you tell us how are we gonna find more parking spots with $58,000? I know we talk about signage and this and that, but where does $58,000 go? I know it's a study, but.
So I think the primary purpose here is to quantify the need. You know, it's not that there's a debate about whether or not there's a need, but exactly how, you know, what are our peak demand for parking in our three downtown districts. To Alderwoman Bassey's point about optimizing, you know, they can evaluate our current area that we have to work with, layouts and schematics like that, and determine if even doing something like that would satisfy those demands, or what other alternatives may be towards alleviating some of the parking issues in our downtown districts.
And this study takes 8 months, year?
A year.
A year.
About a year.
Too many people keyed up.
Alderwoman Miller.
Oh, mine's allowed.
Yeah, so
I'm sorry.
by the time we have a finished product with the presentation, all the data and recommendations have been made, we're looking at about a year.
Okay. Yeah, like I said, it's a lot of money, but that's our biggest problem is parking downtown, and if we can squeeze out a few more parking spots, I'm all for it.
I think it's imperative we do a professional engineered study. I feel one of the downsides that we had in all discussions on future downtown development was parking. And although in all due respect to Chief Burke and the service that he provided in counting and measuring parking spots, it's an internal study. This would be an external study done by a professional engineer. They'll not only give us numbers, optimization, need, design, and what we should do in the future. I think with that in our pockets, we can better discuss future development as well as future expenditures from a city-based parking lot owned operation. I think it's imperative to have this in a file that we can refer back to it, just like we do with the roadway study that we did in 2019. Whenever we did that roadway study, we refer back to it constantly. So I think it's important. I don't want to spend $58,500, but I believe that this is essential to continue to move forward.
Okay, Alderman Bassey.
Okay, I just wanted to say that my source for these are just AI. You go around, you present this to companies such as ParkAid or Test Fit, and you give them the dimensions, and they will come up with something designed like this at a significantly less price.
Okay. We've got
ParkAid, ParkAde, all one word, and the second one, all one word, Test Fit, TESTFIT. You're welcome.
Doug.
Thank you, Alderman Gleb. I was part of the committee that looked at the parking studies. The studies don't just count cars. They look at shared parking. They also look at curbside management. They look at wayfinding signage throughout the downtown. They look at loading zones. They look at your land uses throughout the downtown and how that affects your parking. They look at multimodal travel. Each parking consultant submitted their product example of their work. This particular consultant had a lot of stakeholder feedback included. They had a park mobile app. They used drones to count the parking. They had a 5-block parking turnover study, very specific curbside management program. It was a very well done plan, very well done graphically. They provided results in a very readable manner and with charts, pictures, and diagrams, as opposed to any of the consultants we looked at could have done the job, but this consultant did a over and above plan that was very readable, and the charts, diagrams, and just the way they presented it was excellent, and it flowed well, but the study provides much more than just counting cars.
Okay, thank you. Ross, I'm sorry.
I just wanted to...
No, with all due respect, Alderwoman Bassey, just help me understand what you're showing us here, because I don't know if, has staff received this? No? Okay. Staff has... Well, okay. So, I mean, key people that need to review something like this need to see it. And when I read this, I see parking ramp, and I'm trying to understand this. Is this a level of a 2 or 3 level parking garage?
What it is if, let's say we're looking at the old bank building.
Okay.
Okay. I have spent a lot of time looking at that and walking at that. The way that is lined up, you've got parking, let's see.
I understand what you're, yeah, okay, go ahead. Go ahead.
So you're actually using more concrete, which could potentially be additional parking. So you're optimizing it just by having it flow one way and then the other way, versus having it horizontal, the way we've got it.
But would you be laying out this one parking lot and then next to it another parking lot and then next to it another parking lot?
Again,
is that what you're...
If you look at the bank parking lot, there's plenty of room to extend beyond that and still add additional parking. It goes back pretty far.
Okay, but like this lot and then another lot and then another lot because there's so much land back there? Is that what you're looking at? Is that what you're proposing?
I am proposing that we optimize what we have and continue it where we have grass now.
Yeah.
This is not, you are not looking at the bank parking lot. This is just an example of something.
Of what can be fit in there. Is that what you're saying? Okay.
Yes. That's
but
all
then,
it is.
but then you'd fit it in there, and then you have enough land that you fit another one right behind it going westbound, and then another one behind that going more westbound.
But it would all be the same thing, yes. All
Sure.
one great big continuous parking lot.
Okay, and so if a developer ever comes in, now what do we do?
We still have our parking lot. What kind, are you talking
No,
about?
I'm saying, I mean, because that whole piece of land, I'm trying to visualize, yes, we need parking there, but also there's got to be some type of development there to get some money back into the city, in regards to, taxes, property, and retail. So it's tough for me to understand this, and not knowing that staff really hasn't reviewed it to see if it should match up to our ordinances or be better, but I don't know that for a fact. And it's kind of like we're on C and we need to start with A, B first.
So are you suggesting where the bank parking lot was, you're expecting to have another multi-level mixed-use building there?
I'm expecting some development there.
Versus having it be a parking lot?
Just one big parking lot. Yes, I am.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, that's what the downtown's for.
Okay.
Ross, you had something.
Yeah, I just wanted to kind of feed off of what Doug was talking about. I just want to remind council, when Shodine was presenting before us, it seemed like everything landed on the parking, right? And the parking problems or not problems that we have. And so then we were kind of directed to say, hey, go out, grab this study, or at least see what we can do. So that in the future, if somebody comes forward and wants to develop that property, we have the material to give them to say, look, this is what we need in our downtown to be successful in our downtown. And that's what this study is going to give us, right? It's going to tell us, it's going to look at the uses that are there, the potential uses that our comp plan have identified for our downtown. It's going to look at all of that, and it's going to say, this is how much parking you need, and this is where you need it at. And so that developer has to put up a parking garage, or that, you know what I'm saying? So this is a very important study in our eyes, at least in my eyes, coming from community development, to determine what is needed in our downtown.
Ross, that mean that this study would give us different levels as far as this is what we need at the present time, this is what we would need. If we were to do A, this is what we would need. If we did B, this is what we would need?
I didn't dig into it that deep, Doug, that was Doug, part of it, but yes, what I'm envisioning is you get this type of density in your downtown, you're gonna need this. You get 20,000 square feet of restaurant and retail, you're gonna need this, right? And it's gonna give you, they know how far people wanna walk. So they're gonna identify everything and say, if you put a restaurant here where this bank site is, you're gonna get people that are gonna park in Court Street and walk down. Like, that's what these companies do, these engineers do. They identify all of that, and they put it in a report, and they give it to you. That's something that we can utilize for an RFP. When we go out for an RFP, we can say, hey, here's the parking study we did. It's just like we require parking studies for apartment buildings that go in. This is exactly what's happening, except we're doing the parking study so that we can give it to the developer to say, hey, this is what's going to work.
Okay. So this study at $58,000 will tell us what kind of parking we would need.
I would hope so,
if we were to develop. You're saying if we
for that amount of money, yeah, it's going to tell us.
And that's the thing.
But there's always an argument, right? So you're always going to have somebody that doesn't agree with that engineering study, right, Andy? I mean, we know that, right?
Yes, we do.
Alderman Glad, I'm sorry, but 99% confident that this study would give us what we need in order to answer the questions about the parking in our downtown.
Okay.
And I'm done. I just wanted to kind of build off of what Doug was saying. I don't like to spend the $58,000 either. It's not the cheapest one, right? We know that. But I think the Kimley Horn is proven, and I think that what they supplied to us is a better option than the others. So,
again, I want to see wanted to know what we're getting for the $58,000. That's my biggest piece. Alderman McClatchy, just before, I think Alderman Santee had a question before Ross. No, is it okay? Okay, then Alderman McClatchy.
Sure.
Go ahead.
Okay. Ross, you're not done yet. Did I read somewhere where this is going to be paid through TIF?
Yes.
TIF money? Okay.
Yes.
All right, thank you.
Okay. Alderman Santee.
No, Alderman Glad brought up a very, very good point. A, B, and C, and this is for staff. I mean, this is really for staff, is that, okay, so we're going to give these people some hypotheticals here. And we're going to, and we're going to go overboard on what we may see there, and we're going to go under. Give us a parking lot. Okay. Give us something that's going to have so-and-so hundreds amounts of residents potentially there with retail below it, something like that, so they can look at this understanding that those what-ifs may happen down the line. And I want to make sure that we put those in front of these people and make sure they understand it. Because we can't just do an option here for just parking, because the number one question they're working off of is, what, well, I hate to say it, their first question, because they do this for a living, is there a parking problem? And then how do we resolve? First they got to find, the actual need to see if there is a parking problem. And they're going to look at parking and convenient parking and see where they go. But we have to put the what ifs down. And I just thought about that when Alderman Glad said the ABC thing. We've got to give them the what ifs. So please, we have to give them these what ifs, and tell them and blow it up on them. Tell them we're going numerous amounts of units and things. And then bring it down to just parking and see what they show us on their different options. Thank you.
I believe our city administrator, Suzanne, would like to ask a question or make a statement.
So, as Ross just mentioned, the staff is not in the business of wanting to spend $58,000 or recommend that to the city council if we didn't think that this was something that would be important for the future. We have a lot of big decisions ahead of us as a city, right? And this isn't just about future development. To be clear, this $58,500 does include an option where we have them looking at a potential development on Green Street, so that we are making sure that they are aware that that's an option or a possibility for the future, so that they can give us recommendations that include that. I've been here just about a year as of tomorrow, so that's exciting. Yeah, it's been a year. And I will tell you, since the day I walked in the door, I have heard from business owners, from the city council, from developers, from staff, we have a parking problem, right? But nobody really knows. We don't have a sense, God bless the police department and all the work that they did, right? But we don't still have a sense. They're not parking experts, although they are, very, very talented at what they do. We still don't have a sense of what we need. And we're talking about some very significant expenditures. There have been a lot of conversations that I've heard over the last year about the possibility of building a parking garage that would cost $6 million. That is a huge expense. And so I think just from a due diligence perspective, this study is vitally important before the city council makes any of those types of big ticket, big dollar decisions for the future. So I just wanted to reiterate, again, the $58,000 does include those options for development, but it looks at what is our problem, right? Because we want to make data-driven decisions, especially when it comes to significant investments for the future.
Question I have is what are the parameters of how far out do they going to look for this parking study?
I don't have it in front of me.
Yeah, I don't have the
Green
study.
Street, are we talking Riverside Drive? Are we talking, are they going to look on the north side of 120 and how far up, like the Pearl Street only, or what?
Doug, do you have that handy? I don't have it. It's in they identified all of the areas.
Did they?
Riverside Drive, yeah.
Okay.
So if you refer to your packet, page 116, item number 3, it does a complete inventory of all available parking. Will be inventoried, mapped, and surveyed to document its current utilization characteristics block by block. Downtown development will also be documented to inform estimates of existing and demand rates. So I think that...
I was thinking more of the bank. We had that one developer come in a couple of meetings ago that wanted to tip money to redevelop that, and I mean, eventually somebody will redevelop that. I just want to make sure that part is included in there.
That's included also, when we have our kickoff meeting with them, they will know that we lease park, they'll know what's leased, they'll know what's not leased, they'll include that in the study, like the options that we have moving forward. And so, if that property gets developed and that parking's taken away, that'll be included in the study. If, you lose these spaces, so this happens. So, yeah, I mean, we plan on, the kickoff meeting will probably be the most important meeting, that we have with them, and we'll bring up all of these items.
Ross, have we ever had a parking study before down there?
Only what the chief has done and his staff. He's done, three of them. But this is way more involved than, I mean, the chief had done a great job counting spots and what was being used and all that, but this goes way beyond that.
I think more than anything else is the fact that when it comes to studies and we see what we're paying out on studies, and I agree, we do need to have a basis when developers come in so we can tell them what we really need. But like the chief said, 3, and what do we do with those 3, Go ahead.
I just want to add, this study is completely different from the ones that the police department did. The police department looked at available parking spots at peak times in day just to give council a screenshot of what times of days are we at capacity, what times of day are we not, what locations, we broke them all out by location. But this whole downtown area, think of everywhere that there's a 4-hour parking spot right now. This study's going to gobble up all that. That's Vets Park, Pearl Street, Riverside Drive, Park Street, Court Street, Green Street, Waukegan Road, Main Street. All those streets that have 4-hour restrictions are considered part of the greater downtown parking area. And so this study's going to look at all of that. It's going to look at, they're going to go out and find out how many actual residential units are classified as downtown residential, how many apartments are above all of those businesses on Green Street, Riverside Drive, Main Street, and how many parking spots do they really need, because our permit parking is not what it should be. We need a professional to come in and tell us, this is how many spots you need for the people that are currently living in your downtown. Then it's going to look at all your businesses and tell you, this is how many business permit parking spots you need for employees. This is how many 15-minute parking spots, quick pickup spots you need. Like, we need to evolve in what our parking looks like downtown right now as it stands before any development even happens. And I think that, for me, that's the most exciting part that's going to come out of it. They're going to look at 4-hour parking. Is that really what we want? Do you want some of it 2-hour parking? Do you want some of it 4-hour parking? They're going to give you a ton of feedback on what the industry standards are and how that works out. And I think that that's important. It takes a really deep dive into our current status, combines it with the 25-year comp plan and what you voted on for whatever potential development is there, and tells us, do we put money aside to make different plans, or do we need to adapt with existing properties? But all those things should come out of that plan.
And it's not questioning now what the plan does as much as the fact that I just feel that if the council is going to go forward with this, that they got to be committed to the fact that we continue on with this. There've been so many times that we've done studies and then done nothing, or a developer comes in and all of a sudden it changes things, but we never change the study, and adjust it. And that's the thing. I mean, and then 10 years later, we're right back to where we were with not knowing what we need or where we're at. So
yeah, I would say the studies that the police department done have been basically the justification for why this one actually needs to happen.
Right.
We've given you just enough analytical information to show you that we need a detailed study to really get a good picture.
And I'm not talking just the parking study. I'm talking other studies that we've done, and we've never followed totally through with them. And granted, every 2 years, or especially every 4, possibly, you have a whole new council. At times to where, there's different thinking and whatnot, but we really need a good, solid decision of where we're heading after we get this parking study, if we go through with it. So that's what I've got. Anybody else with discussion? Yes, Alderman Miller.
I think the other piece of the puzzle that brought me to the decision to support this was that they are going to explore alternative parking solutions, which we've not done. And that includes, I would expect, as I've read other studies, alternative plans, including metering, like Lake Geneva. If you want to park right in front of someplace, you pay for it. If you want to park a block and a half away, it's free parking. Having shuttles to and from parking garages and downtown drop-offs. So I would expect that this study will bring us some alternatives that we haven't even thought about, because this is what they do. And this is what we're going to need. Because the day of having all surface parking in our downtown area that accommodates every opportunity that exists, we can't do that.
I just find it kind of humorous when you really sit back and you think of umpty 2 years ago we had parking, meter parking downtown. They got rid of the meter parking and it was replaced with the city stickers, and then we finally got rid of the stickers. And now we're talking about for parking downtown again, which inevitably is going to happen if we're to get that type of parking developed, where it's going to be pay to play in a way. But anyway, has anybody else got any other comments or feelings on this? Then I guess we will ask for a roll call.
Alderwoman Miller?
Yes.
Alderman Santee?
Yes.
Alderman Glab?
Yes.
Alderman McClatchy?
Yes.
Alderwoman Bassey?
No.
Alderman Cook?
Yes.
Okay. As we go on, we have the Landmark Commission ordinance, and it's a motion to pass an ordinance adopting text amendments to the City of McHenry Historic Preservation Ordinance. Ross?
Thank you. So this is just basically cleaning up. We've had an interest in the Landmark Commission again. We had 3 vacancies recently. We had, I think, 4. We had 4 apply, 4 or 5 apply. Monty, do you remember?
Not involved anymore. No, I think 4 people applied. 1 accidentally applied to the wrong committee. So I think
as we reviewed and we looked at the Landmark Commission, we realized that the appointments were 3 years. We've had some individuals that just a lack of they've been absent a few times, And so, it was either, we like the idea, like the other committees, of appointing on an annual basis. That way we can, have that option if someone decides that they're not going to show up to over 50% of the meetings, we can talk to them and then appoint, instead of waiting for their term to expire in 3 years. So that, and then the other item that we were changing was, what was the other item that we were changing?
Our ordinance says right now, meetings will be on the first Tuesday.
Yeah. So we're so it's very directive on when the meetings have to be, and so we want to change the verbiage just so that it allows us to be more flexible with our meeting schedule, so we don't have to have them on every first Tuesday of every month. We can change that. So that's the other main text amendment. And then as we move forward, we will bring some more appointments forward and establish what looks to be a pretty interested group of individuals that want to move forward with the Landmark Commission. So,
okay, we'll start out with a motion on this, please. Do we have a motion, Alderman McClatchy?
I'll make that motion.
Second by Alderman Santee.
I will second the motion.
And discussion, please. Alderwoman Bassey.
Ross, just a real quick question. Are all other commissions, Landmark, Ethics, are they all 1 year?
I believe they are. That's a question for...
Planning and zoning is every year.
Right.
That's like the big one we have. It's a big, really, not that they're not all important, but that's a big one. They're every year. Ethics, I think they're staggered, but I think that's by law. Like, they have to be. Same thing with police pension. It has to be staggered. There's a law that says, but planning and zoning is every year. And it makes it easy. If somebody's wants to get off, or we need to get them off, it's easy every year. Everybody else is always reappointed every year, other than the ones that have to be staggered.
Okay, thank you.
The thing is, though, is like you say, people would like to get off or whatever, but it also winds up, they can get off at any time. They can resign. I mean, if they can't make it, they can't make it, and maybe something in the ordinance needs to be put in as far as, attendance or whatever. If they have a certain percentage of attendance that they aren't meeting, they need to resign. I don't know what the legalities on that is, but all I'm looking at is the fact that you could wind up with, whether it be planning and zoning or landmark, whatever, that all of a sudden you have a whole new group next year. So you have nobody to fall back on. The new people don't have anybody that has the experience of what they did. So that's my concern with more than anything else. Alderman Sand.
Very good point. And not that I'm pushing this tonight, but that's staff to oversee and make sure to update these new commissioners when they come in to say, here's what's going on, and make sure they follow, direction.
I mean, you say you have 4 or 5 people that are interested now, but 2 years ago, how many people did we have interested? 2 years from now, how many are we going to have interested?
Yeah, I mean, we couldn't get a quorum together when we had staggered 3-year appointments, so I don't see there really being a change. It is a point that you bring up that they could all resign tomorrow and we wouldn't have a commission. But I mean, if that were to happen, I just have to find 9 or 7 members. I mean, it used to be 12 members. That was really hard to get a quorum.
Sure.
7 members is a lot better, and like I said, staff hopes to have regular meetings now and to keep the interest in, a lot of interest as recently because of Landmark School, right? And so, the individuals that we have now seem to be very interested in keeping that group together. So.
Yeah. Like I say, though, I mean, we don't want to change it for just now. I mean, because, they might be interested now. There might be due to the Landmark School. who knows why they're interested in the Landmark Commission at this time.
Well, and there'll be expectations that we give to them as staff, as with any commission, like, hey, this is, we need you to be present at meetings, and now that doesn't always work, but, that's the goal in having the commission, so.
I mean, I've seen over the years, whether it was people getting on HOA boards or people running for alderman, sometimes with one issue, and that issue gets rectified or taken care of, and then they're kind of lost, I also know that getting people motivated to get involved in whether it be commissions. I mean, you take a look at aldermanic races, head to head in a lot of cases, where I can remember, if you go back about a little over 30 years ago, there were 3, 4 people sometimes in a ward, sometimes 5 running for the same position, and there isn't that much that many people that are that committed anymore. There's so much going on in families that a lot of people just don't get out past that area to get involved with what goes on in their communities. So, any other discussion on this? Feelings? No. Then I guess we take a roll call.
Alderman McClatchy?
Yes.
Alderman Santee?
Yes.
Alderman Glab?
Yes.
Alderwoman Bassey?
Yes.
Alderman Cook?
Yes.
Alderwoman Miller?
Yes.
Okay, I don't think we have a discussion item on here tonight. And the staff reports, other than what was in our packets, is there anything else that needed to be added by anybody?
So, as the City Council saw, there was an attempt by staff to schedule a committee of the whole to discuss development next Monday, the 27th. I would say 95% of the City Council was not available to attend that meeting. So we're looking potentially at the idea of doing a committee of the whole prior to our next meeting on February 3rd. So I just wanted to see if I could get a flavor from the council in terms of whether you would be available for that. We do have some other items coming up for discussion on February 3rd, coming up from Planning and Zoning, so that may be a long meeting. Just the regular meeting may be long. And so, starting earlier would probably be helpful, but I just wanted to see if people were available. 5:30?
Could we set something up like this to where we have a very light schedule on our council meeting for that specific meeting, and then just make it more of a discussion meeting rather than having different items that we have to discuss?
Certainly an option.
Depending on what's pressing, But I think...
Yeah, we have a little bit of a challenge. We have a number of pretty significant issues that I think...
coming up?
Yeah, that are coming up that we've been waiting a period of time to discuss, and development is kind of the one that kicks it off. And so, it just, staff, I think it's important for us to move some of those things forward if we can.
It's a Monday, so I have no problem getting here early. Okay. I don't know about anybody else, though. Alderman Santee?
Yeah, in doing a couple meetings with staff today in regards to the agenda tonight, it seems like we probably will have a very large packet in our next meeting. So I prefer that we look at doing that 2 meetings from tonight in regards to having our just from my discussions with staff today.
All right, noted. Thanks. More correspondence to be coming soon. Thanks.
Okay, we're talking a large packet. Then I would ask that possibly everybody get a hard copy delivered to their houses. Does everybody feel a little bit more comfortable than having to go through pulling it up on the special website, and then you have to go back and forth and everything else.
How big is this packet going to be? Are we looking at another 500-page packet?
Well, got to do business, right? I had 5 items on planning and zoning last week, so you're going to see 5 items at the city council from the planning and zoning commission last
Basically
Wednesday.
on the school.
And Ross, how long was that meeting for planning and
It
zoning?
was 3.5 hours. So I anticipate that there will be some people here to speak. These are items that are coming from District 15 and District 156. They're summer projects.
Mhm.
They're going through the zoning approvals for things like an addition of a track, expansion of parking lots, and some residents that live in those areas did come out to speak, so I would anticipate them to come out again. So it's going to probably be a fairly long meeting and a fairly large packet. I'll try and keep the nonsense out of the packet, right? the engineering stuff and like that, we'll try and keep it as small as we can, but we also want to make sure that everybody has the information that they need.
Okay, so,
Go ahead.
thank you. So if I understand what Alderman Santee has said, that because of the length of the package for February 3rd, it is your preference, and it's a great idea, to move the committee as a whole to the next one, which would be the 17th. Is that what you were saying?
Yeah, I'll come for 2. That's 2 for now.
Yeah. Okay. And I think if it's going to be so large, just out of respect for everyone's time, we should go with the 17th. Assuming we don't have another 500-page packet.
Fingers crossed.
But we don't have a meeting on the 17th, we moved it to the 18th.
Well, that's kind of what I said. No, thank you.
Monty?
Oh, yeah. So, like, when our packet is really big and it's too big to get on the city's website, like there's an error. In the past, I've had to stick it in SharePoint. You'd have to download it and save it as a PDF. I think I've got that fixed, I think. It's still be too big to go straight to the city's website, but I think I found a way where you can just grab it as a PDF, like as a pure, real PDF. I think I've got that fixed now. I'm working with IT on that. So hopefully you won't have download issues, I'm hoping, when we have one of those giant packets.
We can pull it up on our iPads, then we won't expect a hard copy, but if we can't, we expect a hard copy at our house, right?
And unfortunately, like, people come to me with their iPad problems, and I don't have one to play with, to see how it looks for you. But I'm going to see if I can find next time we have that packet like that go out. I'm going to see if IT can give me an iPad to play with, so I can pretend like I'm you and see how it works. That's the plan for the next big packet.
Okay. Thanks, Monty.
I'm happy to help you,
Okay, so the mayor's report, did the mayor leave any messages? No? Okay. City council comments? Alderman Cook?
Hit your button.
The staff reports, I'm sorry. This goes to Mr. Hobson there. The Memorial Park gym set, you send it overseas. We don't have nothing around here that, like a church or a daycare center or something that could use this. I'm just wondering.
Again, for that particular program, our standards here are generally higher. And even though that playground is coming to the end of its useful life for us, the standards here are different than standards where they would ship this program to. So it was an opportunity that Team Real, as well as Hitchcock Design, was the firm that suggested to us to reuse portions of the Vets Park playground rather than just tear it down and recycle it and dispose of it. There's some opportunities for that. So that was an option that we were exploring to be able to utilize that, and they were certainly interested in utilizing some of that equipment. We, in addition, will utilize some of that equipment where we can to save us some costs to replacement. Like the bridge. The bridge is a good example of an element that could be certified. We can transfer that to another park or save it as a side to not have to buy a $15,000 element if something goes bad in another park. So we'll hold on to some pieces, but as a whole, the certification of that playground
is coming to the end of its useful life for the standards that are, for anybody we give it to, and I wouldn't want to expose us to any any lawsuits in sending out equipment to someplace.
Well, it just seems funny that we have a high standard, but yet we're going to send it to another playground that they could get hurt too. I mean, kind of, sort of. You understand?
I just was exploring potential reuse, and that's a program that does allow for that reuse as opposed to anybody just giving it to another municipality that's a smaller or a high school or a daycare center. Those programs don't exist. This is one that we found that's been a well-vetted program and works, and that was our exploration of that.
Okay, thank you. Alderwoman Bassey? You got something?
Oh, no.
No? Okay. Anybody else? No? Then,
I just wanted to make a comment, like, as a resident, too. I truly believe that the study for the parking is imperative. People that I know I'm on the council as just the city clerk, but they come to me and they say, look at these awesome restaurants that the council's putting, allowing in, and all this great development that's happening so far, but I can never find a parking spot. And so I just wanted to give that as, like, some feedback from being a resident, and also me. Me and my husband went to go out to dinner to one of our favorite places on Riverside Drive, and we had to drive around for 45 minutes to find a parking spot. And I live 2 minutes down the street. So just to put things in perspective, I'm excited to see that you guys are making these decisions to get some professionals and engineers and understand a little bit more. And I hope that it really is an asset, the money that's being spent on it. And I think that a lot of people in the community will appreciate the decision with that. So I just wanted to let you know my feedback on that.
again, it's about the money that we're spending, as much as the fact that we spend it wisely.
Right.
And that we actually do something with the information we get.
Correct.
Because there've been too many times in the past that we
Right.
we
And
did
kind of
nothing.
like what Ross said in regards to keeping that information and having it as a visualization, so that when developers come, we can pull it out as a playbook and say, hey, if A, B, or C, we have this option. So that's just my take on it.
But why would you go around for 45 minutes looking for a place to park if you're 2 minutes away?
Because I have deals on it, I have neighbors.
Okay.
Thank you, Carter.
Okay. Alderman Sandage.
Motion to adjourn?
Second?
I'll second
The second, Alderman McClatchy. Roll call?
Alderman Santi?
Yes.
Alderman McClatchy?
Yes.
Alderman Glad?
Yes.
Alderwoman Bassey?
Yes.
Alderman Cook?
Yes.
Alderwoman Miller?
Thank you. Have a good night.